If you saw yesterday's video, you'd know that I didn't actually start the Wiki Loves Pride competition like I thought I was going to, and this is because I got completely sidetracked. So if you were worried about me, you'll be happy to know that today I put myself back together and started an article from scratch, thus officially, I think, earning a participation award for the competition. So I started by going to the Rainbow Awards, which is a recently started queer book award in India, and I think that awards like this are a great place to look for potential spots for new articles, because the biggest gatekeeper to creating a new article on Wikipedia is getting past the notability policy, which says that you must have a good reason to put an article on Wikipedia. And honestly, this is a source of a lot of bias on the site, because a lot of certain types of articles get interrogated more than others, and it can be hard to keep your article from getting deleted. And I also just tend to be more of an inclusionist. I believe that we should talk about more things on the site and not try to gatekeep what gets written there. So awards like the Rainbow Awards are a great place to start, because usually if a book has attracted enough critical attention to receive an award, it's also attracted enough recognition and critical commentary to pass the notability test that Wikipedia has set up. And already I see with this award that there are quite a few books that have not received Wikipedia pages, otherwise they would be linked. And I think any one of these would be a great place to add some representation of an underreported queer subject for the encyclopedia. And so here I'm just clicking on a recent one, and I do a little background digging. I make sure that there's enough newspaper articles and other types of commentary that are independent from the writer, so not too many interviews, but also reviews. And because I found more than 3 of these, I feel confident that this article will pass the notability test, and I won't be wasting my time trying to write it and then fight over whether it should stay. So I begin by writing the article. I've already kind of glanced through the reviews that I'm referencing, and from these reviews, I'm going to kind of put together this picture of what the book is about, because I don't have time to read the whole book, even though it sounds really cool, and maybe I will later. But right now, I'm just going to write a summary of the contents of the book. It's nonfiction, it's a memoir, it's a set of essays, and the different sources often overlap in their summary of what the book contains, but they all have a little bit of a different take. And so kind of putting these together and combining what a few different secondary sources say, I'm able to put together a picture of what most of the book is about. And hopefully this is close enough to the reality of what the book is about. Once I've got the contents done, I move on to the creation of the book. This is a section that I love to add when there's time. Usually, there's always details about when a book was published and what the book contains. But if you get lucky, you can find a source that is reputable enough for Wikipedia that talks about the creator's intentions with writing the book and their process and their motivations. And I really like adding this personal touch, because I think this is why you go to a site to learn more about something, is you get more detail that you couldn't have gotten from maybe just an AI summary. So I thought this was a great section to add, and I was glad that a few different interviews had details about the author's intentions here. Then I go quickly through the publication section, which is usually pretty generic, but here I did notice some articles that actually talked about the publishers who were involved in this book and how they related this book to the larger trends of publishing at the time. And so I thought this was a great touch to add. Finally, we go to the reception section. This is pretty standard for any book. It talks about basically the reviews and were they positive or negative. And you're not supposed to just summarize a review by calling it a praiseworthy or a critical review. You're supposed to actually include what the reviewer thought. And so I try to grab some of their most consistent feedback from different reviews here and just write like 1 or 2 sentences from the perspective of each different review. Reception section is also the place where you add any awards. And so here I'm going to mention the Rainbow Awards and link it. And I also usually add major awards to the lead, which is at the top of the article. With that, we add the references at the bottom and any categories. I'm not even sure, frankly, how useful these are, but I think some people do use them to navigate and maintain Wikipedia. So I would prefer to add as many categories as are useful. Unfortunately, I just don't, there's so many categories out there. And so I usually look back at a other similar book and look at the categories that uses and then try to add whatever analogous categories there are to this page. And so I think this method works well enough for me, but obviously could be missing a lot of relevant categories. I'm not really sure of a great way around that, frankly. With that, I finally moved to some of the heading items. And so every page tries to have an info box with just a quick summary of what the book is about. And so here I just fill in some of the same info that is dabbled throughout the article. And then I also add a short description at the top. And this is starting to be pretty common on most pages. So when you search for a page on Wikipedia, you'll get like a quick phrase-long summary of what the page is about. And they usually follow a very standard format, and so I just fill that in. And with that, I save my changes and publish. Later, I'll go back because I have realized that I would like to have more sources in the contents and a couple other things. But this is the gist of the article. So this screen now looks a little different than normal. Because I said that I was participating in Wiki Loves Pride, the Wikimedia Foundation has built this tracker to see how many edits I create under the event this month. And so I'll say yes here, but strangely, this does not link to the Wikipedia version of the competition, and so later I'm going to actually have to go in and manually add this book to the list. But that's fine because, the more places that you reference an article from other pages and articles, the better chance it has of other editors learning that it's there and adding to it and building it into the encyclopedia. Another way to add it to the attention of different editors is to add wiki projects. And you do this on the talk page, which doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to create that page and I'm going to add projects that I think are relevant because I've seen them pop up on similar pages before. And every wiki project has a little template that you can copy and paste to add here, and it will automatically put it on the radars of those different wiki project editors. And so by putting these projects and tagging it here, and also by tagging it with the current Wiki Loves Pride event, I'm able to bring this article to the notice of editors who might care about it. And finally, I go to the Wiki Loves Pride page, go to the bottom of the list, and add the new page in. And with that, I feel like I'm officially participating in Wiki Loves Pride. So I would love to get more contributions in, and hopefully I'll be doing a few a week until the month ends. And of course, I'll be working on this subject in the future, but it's kind of fun to be able to see what I'm doing at the same time that a lot of other editors are working on the same area. So I'll be continuing to look for good spots to add new articles. Let me know if you have any fun strategies for finding articles within a certain topic to add. And if you are participating in Wiki Loves Pride or want to get help started, I would love to see what you're up to. Thanks for watching and good luck editing.